Surprise!
Hello!
Sneak attack! Hello! Yes, we're live streaming, I think. I assume you can see and hear. We're having a few technical difficulties in the room with access to shenanigans and data and the World Wide Web. Haven't heard it called that for a while. I'm assuming people can see and hear me. No one's confirmed it yet, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not happening. Kevin, thank you. And Tom, thank you, Tom. And thank you to anyone who might be currently typing but hasn't yet pressed enter. It's been a couple of weeks since we did one of these. Had some work stuff, then I was ill, and then there was an incident with gravity that was a problem, and there won't be one next week either, because next week's my birthday. I'll be off busy having fun. So live streaming. My word indeed. Oh, what was that? I just hit something with a phone. Oh, it was my beard brush. No wonder I couldn't find it. It was underneath a pension leaflet. It's a rock and roll lifestyle. It really is. Both rock and roll. Yes, indeedy. Usual ramble format. Because usual ramble format is to ramble about what I've been doing and ramble about what Crimson's been doing, and then ramble about the subject, whilst the wonderful Crimson captures questions from the chat, which we return to at the end. I see no particular reason to divergify from the thingy. And the reason the subject for this evening's ramble is, as some of you might have read it, but it doesn't actually show on screen, so I can't remember exactly the syntax I used. It was AoS, 40k, and Star Wars Legion. I mean, I haven't really got enough to ramble about any one of those things, so there's just going to be like a soupçon of each one, a taster, as it were, sort of like sliders, which I believe are small burgers. Why you'd have small burgers, I don't understand. I mean, that not smell nice. So since we last streamed, what has gone on in? We have a super chat already from Mick the Machine. Nice t-shirt, dude. Usual shout out for community events, and of course, glad to see you back streaming. So, community events, yes. Let us shout those out. This is going to require some consulting of diaries and things to make sure dates are correct. So, community events, we have 16th of September. At Tabletop Events in Belper, we have Porfest, a community event run by the community for the community, a get-together of channel members to meet and throw dice and be merry. And I believe this time around, Crimson and I are going to be playing an exhibition game of Age of Sigmar, which will certainly be fun. Yes, better. Can you still hear me? I pressed a button to try and make the box go quieter. Hopefully that hasn't cut the sound off. I'm sure someone will tell me if it has. Then we also have later this month in May, we have the Crimson Conflux. So we've had a few teething problems with the with some of the publicity on this. Isn't that fair to say? We've had a few teething problems. First one we've done like totally independent. So the Crimson Conflux. So for everyone watching who may or may not be interested, the Crimson Conflux is a 2-day narrative event on the 27th and 28th of May in Sanctuary Gaming Centre, Sutton and Ashfield. For those of you who don't know where that is, it's about 10 or 15 miles north of Nottingham, 15-ish miles north of Nottingham. And Sanctuary is a big sort of gaming centre, coffee shop type thing. And they got really nice terrain and good facilities and good tables and so on. So we are holding this event that Crimson and I are running together on the 27th, 28th of May. It's an AoS event. It is 5 games across 2 days. The price is £60 a ticket, which includes lunch on both days and entry into a free raffle, as well as the 5 games. All factions are playable, and tickets are still available. We have a there is a page on the community Discord for anyone who's interested. We're also we're in the process of getting a Facebook page sorted out for it, but we've had some teething trouble with that, haven't we?
We have. So Sanctuary Games do keep moving the goalposts just a little bit each time. But I'm working on that.
But what we do have is an email address people can reach out to for more details. Do we know what that? Can you remember what it is off the top of your head?
I'll pop it in the chat in a minute.
Pop it in the chat in a minute. Yeah. Okay. So anyone interested, you can reach out to that email address if you want information on it. So yeah, tickets are still available there. So I'm moving the keyboard because of cat. So there you go. Shout out for community events as requested by Mr. Mick the Machine. Thank you, Mr. Mick the Machine. We have also had a couple of shout outs, a couple of channel member thingy gubbinses. Wolf Corgi, member for 20 months. Cut my mouth having breakfast this morning. I had crimson cornflakes. I don't know what the appropriate response to that other is, so I shall intake breath and nod sagely.
And as I think my family are also listening, just probably keep it clean. Hello to my sister Rachel and Neve and Grace and Mark and Aaron. They've tuned in tonight to have a listen.
Have they really?
It's the only chance they get to see me. To see my arm.
See your arm. Well, let's have a little look at your arm.
I can't move.
It wasn't really an arm. It was only really your
I know,
fingers.
but I can't. Yeah.
You're injured, aren't you?
Injured.
You're injured. Yeah.
I'm very injured.
Okay. And Mick the Machine has member for 30 months has also super 30. Has it been that long?
Oh.
It has been that long. Oh my word. Super has chatted. I have had relationships last not as long as my channel membership. Lol. Yeah.
We hope Mike's okay, by the way. We do hope his mouth is okay. I hope
with the crimson cornflakes.
With the crimson cornflakes.
Yeah, but tomorrow it might be bloody Krispies.
Not the crimson conflux, the crimson cornflakes.
The crimson cornflakes. So, that was all preamble. We're 9.5 minutes deep and we're still on preamble. So what else has gone on? What's been going on? Hobby world. Are you in yet?
Yeah, just.
You made it in.
Just.
Okay. So thinking back, while finished painting my Skaven Endless Spells, They are now all set for their vignette in the Siege of Ixalis. They play a role. Oh yes, they do. Endless spells and gnaw holes for some of the narrative games. Well, they're all narrative games, but some of the super narrative games coming up, so they're finished. Next on the painting desk was to be. I was ill for a little while, so didn't do any painting. But next to the painting desk are a few Stormcasts, not my Astral Templars. They are a handful of Stormcasts from a different storm host to be able to use with Cities of Sigmar in various different games. So they're next. Then it's the Iron World. Then it's the Trog Herd. That's the order. So then that takes me about halfway down the list. But with it all being done in chapters, it's all kind of cut up and sliced up and shimmied about the place. I'm trying to think whether we've done this the last time we spoke. So I've actually since, I don't know if this was discussed last time or not. I've actually played 3 games of 40k not too long ago. 1 against Gambit and 1 and 2 against James March, and it's an awful lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but goodness me, was it hard work. 9th edition does not make it easy. One of those was a standalone game. The other was the 2-part conclusion to the Soul of Nexus 2 campaign, which I started such a long time ago. So that is coming. I have no idea what the timings are, but I'm hoping they all come in before 10th drop as a sort of bye-bye to 9th. Then, hobby-wise, I haven't actually touched AoS or 40k for a little while because whilst I was poorly, I decided I was just going to crack open my my Star Wars Legion box and just have a look at what was inside. So I've been building and painting Star Wars Legion. Started with some Confederacy of Independent Systems, Roger. And I'm currently moving on to some Stormtroopers, because my good friends, The Claw and Stormshroud, both of whom from Fast Panda Gaming, also have some Star Wars Legion, and we kind of all said, because we the 3 of us and Gambit and a couple of others who aren't really in the loop anymore, we used to all get together and game every Friday night, and it used to be 40k, and we, for reasons of life and gaming preference, we've all ended up going in different directions, and we've kind of sort of said, shall we all sort of do a bit of an army and get together and get the band back together? And we were like, yeah, let's do it. So I've been doing some Star Wars Legion. Now, having a look at the rules, I don't know how well it will lend itself to Solo Hammer because it's alternating activations and the secret info, and so I don't know. I may end up doing some Solo Hammer. I may not end up doing some Solo Hammer, but I've had a few ideas of what to do, but I might ramble back to that in a little while. In a little ramble while. Yeah. Ramble while. How about yourself, Crimson?
Oh. I don't know whether I thought I would just, I don't know the word, going to be on some kind of stunt man thing. So I was just practicing doing stunts in the shower, and I have fallen and injured myself very badly. So I slipped in the shower. Long story short, slipped in the shower, smashed my face on the side of the shower, cut all the inside of my mouth, and I have torn a ligament in my left arm, which is the most painful thing ever. I wished I'd have broken it, to be fair, because it wouldn't hurt this much. So I've been.
You've kind of just got it.
Oh my God, it is just. I mean,
it's just doing nothing.
It's propped up on a pillow at the moment because it's the other hand. It's propped up on a pillar at the minute, and I've never known pain like it. It's just ridiculous. So yeah. So but when I spoke to my sister, who's listening now, my lovely sister, she said that she'd been told that to tear a ligament is more painful than break a bone, and I believe that.
Well, we can try breaking the other one, and you can compare the two.
I smashed your face in.
With what?
Piece of 3x2 in my teeth.
In your teeth. Yeah. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh. Yeah. So I've just been a little bit battered and bruised. Yeah. And I've got a bruise that goes from my shoulder down to my elbow. Yeah.
Sorry, she's just pulled the sleeve. I hadn't seen this. She just pulled the sleeve up. Oh my God!
It's a really big bruise. It's a really big. So yeah. So I've just been dealing with that. I did go to A&E. I did do that because my mouth was bleeding as well. So I did go to A&E, and I hurt my knee.
I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, I know. No one's seen it really. Because it's not something you want to look at because it's like a piece of liver. It's just horrible. So, but anyway, yes. So that's why I'm a little bit quiet because it hurts to breathe because I did some ribs as well. So,
and your knee, you're still limping like a good one.
Couple of ribs in my knee. So yeah. That's me. That's my week.
No hobby stuff then.
Well, yeah, because I've been doing Crimson Conflux in between all of that as well.
Have you got an interesting story to tell, or have you not?
Yeah, I've been interviewing all day today, and someone came in for an interview called Craig. He was a really nice guy, so if he is listening tonight, then thank you, Kev. If he is listening tonight, then he had a brilliant interview, and he's a really nice guy. But halfway through it, we were talking about hobbies, and he said, "You don't want to know mine." He said, because no one knows about it and everybody has a laugh when I tell them. So when he just did one mime and I said, what are you painting at the moment? And he said, you'll not know. And he said what he were painting. And I was like, oh yeah, I've put those together for Say Hi, Paul. And he went, oh my God. Oh my God, it's just clicked who you are. Oh my God, with the red hair. Oh my God. So he was a really lovely guy and was in awe, not at me, that I knew Paul. So that's what he was in awe of.
I think he was in awe of you.
But he was saying, oh yeah, the red hair. And I have just gone red again. So it is very red at the minute.
You've rereaded.
I've rereaded. So yeah. So that was quite a nice thing today that he knew who we were and knew about the event. So,
yeah, your first sort of like your first sort of random fanboy encounter.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said, "Oh my God, I can't." And I thought, stop shouting, "Oh my God!" We're in a small office and no one can see what we're doing, and you're shouting, "Oh my God!" at the top of your voice.
Keep it friendly.
Yeah, keep it. Yeah,
keep
yeah,
it clean.
yeah. So that's So that was my day today, but. Yeah, I'm going to put the Crimson Conflux details, the PayPal details into here, and I'll also put the
email address.
The email
to
address.
Contact.
Yeah, to contact. But somebody's asking for the PayPal details as well.
Right. They can email you for them. But
you can, that's absolutely fine. But I'll put the email address in. But the PayPal account is the same as
it is, but yeah.
Anyway, I'll pop it in there.
You might get random people just randomly transferring your money if you're really lucky.
Be
I know that'd be great.
That'd be great. Yeah. It means we can sort of like have a really good meal.
Yeah. And I don't know, biscuits.
Yeah, the power of the shower. Yeah. Thank you.
So
Tell me about your bathroom. Oh my God, it's the bathroom of the century.
What?
Your bathroom? It's finished.
Well, oh yeah, yes. So I don't know if we've been talking about the saga of the bathroom. I think some long-standing members may remember about a year and a half-ish ago how I had to have my shower replaced, and it was an absolute nightmare. Well, the company that replaced it were a shower of cowboys, and they refused to come and fix it. R&L Contracting, based out of Nottingham, avoid. They refused to come and fix it. Oh no, they're no longer trading, which is why they refused to come and fix it.
They are on the
website. So we found someone else. Crimson arranged it all for me because I was too busy being crazy and sitting in the corner dribbling, just about managing to make it through a work day, and then just sort of face palming some miniatures of an evening. And that's all done. It's all fitted. It's all installed. Apart from the fact that I've got a tap that doesn't pour water in the sink and a shower that sprays water around the room. And apart from those two minor flaws, it's beautiful.
What are you moaning about?
I know. Yeah, the one fundamental thing you want in a bathroom, you want the water to be where it's meant to be.
Yeah.
But it is not. So it is still an ongoing thing. What else did I managed to accidentally order a German language version of some Star Wars Legion stuff, so that's had to go back. Did I tell you about that?
No.
Turned up German. And it'd be all right if it was just models, but it's not. It's cards. It's like cards. Yeah. I know. There's a recipe for onion barges on my desktop. Right, it's just right in front of me. It's just, I don't know why I said that. It's a good recipe as well. They make nice barges. I'm cracking up, not on. It's close. It's very close. And did you have any other stuff that you'd done?
No.
Yeah. You're using that arm a lot. That looks like it's really hurting.
It's really hurting.
Really hurting. Lifting the phone up for you just to read it, then putting it down. You think she was pumping weights the size of melons.
It's on my main muscle. Come on.
I know. I'm laughing with you. Oh, sorry. The screen. Sarcastic Monkey member for 7 months. Would have loved to help with the German Star Wars stuff. Well, thank you, Sarcastic Monkey, but I can't get you over every time I need to read a card. Oh dear. So Star Wars Legion. So really enjoying painting stuff. They are so quick to paint. The sculpts are fine. They remind me of sort of mid to late 90s GW plastics. Not in the poses, they were all pretty monopose, but in terms of the sprues and some of the styles. But they're really good. The thing I like about them is they're really good at arm's length. They've got I scoured the Tinternets for how to paint some of the models, and I sort of thought, oh god, these B1 droids, battle droids, are going to be a pain. They've got so many lines. There's going to be so much highlighting and in shading and all sorts of other stuff. And then a couple of go on, Lemmy. And I watched a few different things, and nearly everyone has the same. I found it on Zorp first. It was a really good tutorial. But then I looked for other ones, and pretty much everyone has got the same sort of thing. It's like, spray it Wraithbone, right? Paint the gun in Black Templar, okay. Paint the rest of the droided skeleton horde. Okay. Done. Wow. Roger, Roger. And yeah, so I've been I painted a bunch of those, really enjoyed it. I painted 5 units in 2 evenings. So quick. The models really seem to suit the contrasts and shades and dry brushes, and they need to look good from that distance. So in a way, the fact that they are much less detailed, far less detailed sculpts works in their favor. So so I've been really enjoying doing those, and so gonna get together. Actually, we're seeing the guys tomorrow night, aren't we? We play Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
We are, tomorrow night.
One Wednesday a month, and we're gonna have a chat about getting together and getting some practice games in, and it may end up just being a random casual thing, or it may end up being a battle report thing. I don't know. That's TBC, but really enjoying it. Of course, I end up with the usual set of Paul-related issues. So, for example, I'm like, right, okay, so Galactic Empire. Well, I want people who can be in specific places at specific times. In fact, the Galactic Empire isn't a good example. So the Rebels are a good example, right? So you're looking at it and going, okay, so you've got Endor Han Solo and Endor Leia. Okay, well, the only games you can play with them are on Endor. Then you've got the camouflagey type rebel troops. It's like, yeah, okay, that's not like a standard uniform. That's because it's one of the things that have put me off quite a while ago is that, yeah, but rebels don't have a standing army. You can't do many scenarios with them. You can't do this. You can't do that. I'm like, do I really want to do it? And that's kind of why I went for Clone Wars. But returning back to the Rebels, so you look at the different characters, and you say, okay, so they can only happen there. They can only happen there. But that each faction does have a generic general, like a rebel captain or an imperial officer, and I'm like, right, great. So they can be my characters in games that don't fit into the canon type things. So a couple of good examples are from should I apply you with wine gums? Will wine gums help? She's in a lot of pain and trying not to show it. So 2 good examples are in the Rebel faction, and they are from the Rogue One film. One is Andor, and the other is Jyn Erso. So Jyn Erso is not a rebel; she's a criminal. And then during the course of that film, which has like 3 days elapsed time, they go here, they do a thing. They go there, they do a thing. They go there and do a thing. And spoiler alert, then they die. So there is no scope whatsoever for her to be included narratively in anything other than the Battle of Scarif. None. Maybe it. Oh, let me be careful. Maybe a little bit on. Is it Jakku? I think it's Jakku. Jakar. Can't remember. Whereas if you take Cassian Andor, if you watch Andor, he gets recruited to be a member of the Rebels, and then some years later, dink, the stuff of Rogue One happens, and And that's the end of Cassian Andor. But there's all sorts of scope to be able to say, and he's doing this raid here and this thing. And that's where I sort of go, well, actually, of course, the Rebels, having seen Andor, they don't do big standing army fights except mainly in the big films. So I'm like looking at the Rebel stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So the Rebels' vehicle is like a land speeder that they've bolted a gun on the front, or someone's leaning out the window with an assault rifle. It's like sort of a ragtag cell of a dozen, 2 dozen, maybe even 3 dozen individuals repurposing civilian vehicles to hit military targets, to raid a compound, to kill an officer, to disrupt a thing, to sabotage a such. And I'm like, yeah, that can work. And so then I start looking at the Rebel range and going, okay, so that doesn't fit in that. That doesn't fit in that. That doesn't fit in that. And I'm like, right, what I got left? Right, okay, basket, click. And you also have other characters like Fulcrum. So, and some of the characters from Star Wars Rebels, because they're doing a thing for an extended period of time. With the Empire, you've got Agent Callus. And I'm like, yeah, okay, he's an intelligence agent. He can be all over the place. Yes, he spends quite a lot of time on Lothar, but that's okay. So I'm like, yeah, he can be a character I can use. Dink. Darth Vader could potentially be a character I can use because he's around for ages. And he goes, hacky stabby. What's his name? Director something awesome. He's got the Rogue One problem. He's around. So, then you look at things like, okay, so you've got a bit of a gap between Star Wars and Empire. So maybe there's something you can do with some of the characters there. The Clone Wars era stuff, I've come to the conclusion, because what I had thought is, well, why these 2 characters never fight, never meet, never fight. So you can't have them fight up against each other. But these ones, they maybe meet occasionally here and maybe meet occasionally there. Then I thought, well, what you can do is, if you're doing narrative stuff, you don't have to put a huge amount of narrative suspense of disbelief if only one side has got the characters in. So, for example, Asajj Ventress will have been running around. Will be running around, brutally murdering clones, attacking different gubbinses all the time. So you just do a thing where she's not up against the character Jedi, she's up against the officery type stuff. Right, yeah, okay, cool. And you can do that with sort of a little bit of planning of the scenario, thinking about what is the game, where are they, what are they doing, who are the protagonists, who are reacting, rather than just the standard, it's a pickup game, who have you got? Oh, it's Luke versus Darth Vader. And so another interesting one is like Darth Maul. So okay, so in the Clone Wars, he appears with the Shadow Syndicate. Right, who do the Shadow Syndicate go up against? Well, actually, you could argue they go up against. You could conceive scenarios where they do this, that, and the other. In terms of actually fighting the Clone Wars with the Separatist army, once. So that's not going to work. Palpatine is an Empire character. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine many scenarios where he goes and does the frontline fighting himself, unless you're playing Battlefront 2. So I'm like, do I want Palpatine? I think I want Palpatine. So then, of course, you've got the clone trooper issue. Do you face 1 clone troopers or face 2 clone troopers? Because the hats are different. They've got different hats. It's like, yeah, but it depends. Then if you're playing Geonosis and they all just come out the factory, you can't have clone 2 troopers face 2 troopers because they've only just made phase 1 troopers. But if you're doing the Battle for Kashyyyk and you want Wookiees with them just before all the Jedi get brutally murderized, you got to have face 2 troopers, and then you get the specialists. You get a hat, and you get the 2 different hats in there. And you're like, okay, I've got a captain. Which hat do I want on the captain? Magnets. Aha, phase 1, phase 2. Or you get 2 of them and pay them differently. I should take a breath.
Shall I interject?
You interject whilst I have a little drinky. Still no sponsorship deal. Still drinky.
So Mick has asked a question and made a comment. He says he's bought some Legion terrain for use in Necromunda. Really good terrain, he says. And so will there be a Star Wars Legion bat rep coming soon on the channel?
To be decided. It all depends how the Legion, still no sponsorship deal. All depends how the Legion stuff goes. Not even played it yet. We'll see if it is bat repable. We'll see if there is interest.
Kieran wanted to play, didn't he? Kieran wanted to play.
Mick the Machine super chatted Coke sponsorship. Thank you, sir.
Oh, bless him. Okay, so Murph says total death didn't stop them from bringing back the Emperor. Oops, spoiler alert.
You said that the wrong way around. Just spoiler alert.
Oh, no. Well, that's not the way you said it.
Emperor's not dead. No,
I'm
not criticising you.
I know, no.
Criticising
just
him.
make my own stuff up. Sarcastic Monkey says, don't you dare make him care about Star Wars again. Don't you dare do it.
I love Star Wars. It's like, there are like 3 or 4, I've got like, looking around the room, I've got like 5 favourite franchises, and that's one of them. I wonder if anyone's going to ask you what the other 4 are. We'll find out.
Probably. Sangurinigard says he feels bad for Maul. Someone needs to give him a leg up.
Well, if you watch the Clone Wars series, someone gives him 6 legs up. Spider-Maul. 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 Does whatever, but he doesn't do much really. He's crazy.
Oh, Mick, has Kieran moved in with you then? Poor Sarah.
Goodness me.
That's all I can say. Poor Sarah.
The times they are a-changing.
They are. Wow.
Well, good luck, gentlemen.
Good luck. Oh.
She's trying to toast.
I am. Just lift up my arm. Thank you. I know she doesn't live there. I know she doesn't, but yeah. Oh God, I can imagine what your house is like now.
The same.
Full. You know what you need?
You need to turn.
Up. You need a lock up.
You need to turn. Fabulous. You need to turn the dead space above the stairs into storage.
Oh, you don't know, is he? I can believe that, you know. Yeah, I can believe that as well. Less trouble than me.
The storage containers are also awesome.
They are awesome. Yeah. Oh, Alan. Alan says, any thoughts?
The claw.
The claw. Sorry, I can call him Alan.
Not in front of the muggles, you can't.
Hey, sorry, Alan. Oh, sorry, the claw. I want a bunker in my garden. Mick says he wants a bunker in his garden. Any thoughts on Star Wars Shatterpoint?
Miniatures look cool, but I'm already invested in Star Wars Legion.
If you want to go.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Let me get my head around Legion first, buddy. I've not even played Legion yet. I've got 4 armies.
Oh, we're looking forward to seeing Alan tomorrow.
Oh yes.
The claw.
The insane apothecary who charges people to heal them and runs away with his spear. And then steals from the dead. Dead.
Sanguinary God thinks you're a genius. Can you see it?
Okay. So I can see some Kira's just put. Someone at the club has told him that the rules for Legion have just changed. Yeah, I know. I printed the new ones out. It says permission to print. I think it said permission to download anyway. So I can't read them on a tablet.
You've printed all that off. I have to sign in triplicate blood when I use the printer. You printed all that off.
Get back in your box. The amount of stuff I print whenever you want it. I had to buy a hole punch though. It's only 59 pages. What are you talking about?
Did you back to back it?
No.
Oh my God.
No, I did not.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so that's Star Wars Legion, or part of Star Wars Legion anyway. Yeah, so very much looking forward to that. That's very much a watch this space kind of scenario. I have a couple of weeks off work coming up because I need some serious brain time, and work have agreed to let me have an extra week off work. So as sort of like therapy. And I may well be doing a bit of Star Wars painting in that time. I don't know. But the thing is, I've decided not to try and set myself any expectations, because that's when I put pressure on myself, and that defeats the whole object. So, yes. So, no, not just yet. Well, we can just go. I've got other things to ramble about.
No, you carry on rambling. I don't want to stop you in mid-ramble.
We will go to Discord shortly, because I think the AoS stuff I wanted to ramble about was talking about Crimson Conflux, because I wanted to do a little bit of an advert, publicity, because we've had some publicity wrinkles. So I wanted to shout out about that. The other thing, which I did sort of think about putting as the headline for the ramble, but I thought it's really not going to take very long to talk about, and it would be blatant clickbait. And I'm not a clickbaiter. But I have found the first rule in 10th edition that I am going to ignore. It's true. It's true. The stuff they have been releasing had been... I'm like, yep, I like that. That's quite good. Like this too. I like that one. And then this one came out, and I'm like, well, that's BS. Not doing that. That can do one. So not on my channel, it doesn't. I wonder if they're going to ask what the rule is. I should probably tell them anyway. So
Power's going to your head, I tell you.
Power? Power?
Fame.
Fame? Says you. You and your adoring, worshipping
one person.
Person. That's where it starts. So it is the terrain rule. So I can't remember the exact wording, because the wording was sort of thingy, but it was models that have a 3+ save that are attacked with AP- weapons cannot have the save improved by terrain. Okay, so let's follow this through, shall we? So terrain either makes you harder to hit because they can't see you. If you were looking at a terrain set rules, you would say it either makes you harder to hit because they can't see you so well, or it means you take an element of less damage because the weapon has had to pass through something else solid before it hits you. It gives you a bonus to the save. And I can see Sarcastic Monkey summarizing cover can't ever provide a 2+ save. So what you're effectively saying there is that you're on the basis that your save increases because the weapons are reduced in efficacy by having to pass through the terrain before they hit the models, you're saying that if you take a Tau Fire Warrior that has a 4+ save and stick it in the same piece of terrain as a Space Marine in power armor, and they are both shot through a giant concrete bollard, the bollard does not reduce the power of the weapon against the Marine, but does reduce the power of the weapon against the Fire Warrior, and they both have the same save. Not on my channel. So that's the first rule I should be ignoring, because it makes zero narrative sense. None. Zip. Zero. Zilch. Nada. You got any other words for none that you can think of? Nout.
Are you ready?
Am I ready? I'm never ready for anything these days. But hit me anyway. Except kebabs. I'm always ready for a kebab. Kebab.
So Hill 42 says, would Paul be able to summarise the standing in the War of the 10 Legions in its incomplete state?
Depends if I find the piece of paper that I wrote it on. Did I write it on the back of this? No. Did I write it on the back of this? No. I won't have thrown the paper away. That's for certain. Oh, maybe I threw the paper away.
I might have thrown it away if it was just hovering around.
Oh, no, probably you wouldn't have done it. It's obviously got like scores and stuff written on it. I can always go back and write them out again. From what I remember, the Fallen and the World Eaters were not doing great.
Are you reading Christians?
No, I'm going. My
sorry.
eyes were doing the double vision thing.
Oh, sorry, right, okay.
Found out I've got double vision. Found out that my eyesight, which I thought just assumed was the same as everyone else's, isn't. It's different.
That's fine.
Yeah. This is true. I don't know. Did you find that when you found out about it, you noticed it more?
No, because I've known about mine since I were little.
Well, I've always assumed when I relax my eyes, my vision separates, and I get two. And if I concentrate, it just goes back to normal. And then I don't have to put any real effort into maintaining it. But then if I relax my eyes, they go apart again. And and I'm finding now that I know I had lots of hoo-ha with my glasses. They put like minor, very focal lens things on, and it made my eyes go ah. And they realized, they went back, did some more tests, and discovered I had astigmatism and double vision. And I'm like, what? Isn't that normal? And they were like, no, it's not. I'm like, oh. But now I notice it all the time. And I feel like it's worse because I'm conscious of it. And my eyes seem to get more tired these days, and my vision separates towards the end of the day. And sometimes I end up closing my left eye.
I'm going to read the comment out from Christian.
Okay.
So I think personally a unit should never dip below a 2+ save, because there's always a chance to hit and kill, no matter what, even with the humble last good.
Yeah, there's always an eye socket. There's always a shoulder joint. I think 2+ saves. Yeah, you should never be entirely invulnerable. That is that's not a great way of having a tabletop game. Good for roleplay games when you've got a small number of models and you can things can be a lot more controlled by the GM. But a 1 should be a 1. Should be a 1. Always fail. Completely agree.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay then. Moog says, brace yourself.
Oh God. Love you, Moog.
Could it be condensed down to the War of the X Legion?
10th Legion? 10 Legions?
Oh, I don't know. It's an X
War
and then it's a th.
Ex-Legion.
Iron Hands Clan. I don't know whether he's having me over here, so I'm not going to read.
No, I don't think he is.
Is he not? Oh, you see, I'm so used to Moog.
Yeah, so the Iron Hands.
Do love you though, Moog.
I think what Moog's basically getting at is, could you do an Iron Hands clan rivalry campaign? It's like, yeah, if one was so inclined as to have to do 10 different Iron Hands armies, all with subtly different shoulder pads to the other one. So probably not. Let's just say that's a way down the list. And when I calculate how long I'll probably live, I'm not sure it'll make it stop.
Paladin Wiggles says, was 9th edition so complicated because 9 is a Zinch's number?
Zinch's number.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely got to be something about that. Chaos, ruining chaos for everyone else.
So Sarcastic Monkey, was 8th bloodier and more brutal? If so, that is your answer.
Was 8th bloodier and more brutal? No, 8th was less because we didn't have. Well, so we didn't have the ridiculous AP bloat in 8th. That started to come in towards the end. The AP bloat is what made things just utterly ludicrous. You might as well have not bothered having armor. And the trend in 9th was to make units that were powerful enough that could just delete. I guess that was an 8th thing as well, but I think it was just so much. The AP made it just so much more a thing with 9th. It's like, the unit's effective if it's firing 40 shots a model. Therefore, you just take yours off. It'll save us time rolling the dice. It'll be fine. Yeah, just take it off. Whereas, and I think that was worse in 9th than 8th because of the AP stuff. I do. Although the morale was bloodier browner in 8th than in 9th. In 9th, it just might as well not be in there. It was utterly pointless.
So Paladin Wiggles comes back with, it was 7th. So was 7th a dreary slog, 6th full of excesses?
I can barely remember 6th. 7th, it depended who you played 7th with, I think. How you play. One moment. So lots of 7th Ed battle report, because 7th was the age of formations. When every army had their own formations, they had minimum requirements, they had maximum requirements, they had benefits, they had penalties. If a lot of stuff I watched on the internet, which was basically everyone apart from Winters and Grim Resolve, did minimum troops and such, and maximum everything else, and that did make it dreary. It made it dreary, and it's like, and here's the tax, here's the troop tax. Don't know what we're going to do with those. I might not even deploy them. It's like, but that's the antithesis of narrative gaming. In my world, in 7th Ed, we would do things like, okay, it's a Space Marine detachment. We're not going to do all the first company governments. We're going to base this on a demi company. So actually, we're going to have 50 Marines, 30 tactical, 10 assault, 10 devastator, a captain or a chaplain, a command squad, a dreadnought, and all the transports. And that's the core of our army. Right, then where do we go next to add on? Do we have a detachment from the 1st company, the 10th company? Do we have our Morarium with us? Do we have this? Do we have that? And that very much was based around the flavor and the narrative of the game you were playing. And you do exactly the same.
Pardon me. You're going to take off then?
Yeah, I definitely inflated. You know, my Orthwy, it's a guardian host. Beltan, it's aspect shrines. It really made you not just do here's one of the best of everything, and this is my army, and it's a cookie cutter. If you were playing it what I would consider to be properly, which, everyone plays 40k their own way, which is fine. But if you played it in my circle, 7th was kind of a golden age. It really was. That said, I loved 8th. I loved the simplicity and the streamliningness of 8th until they killed it with 9th.
You ready?
Yes.
So Hill 42 says 4 of the Chaos Gods have their own number. Nurgle 367, Slaneth 6, Khorne 8, and Tzeentch 9. So what number is for the Emperor? Number 1.
Next question.
Moog, favourite Horus Heresy Legion, loyalist or otherwise?
Favourite? It depends which book. I really loved the World Eaters in Betrayer. The way that they suffered Angron, and the way that the Warhounds basically degenerated, and they took Angron as their Primarch, and they had incredibly strong bonds of brotherhood with each other, but their loyalty to Angron let them degenerated the Legion, and they knew it and they could see it happening, but they remained loyal to anyway.
Okay, so anybody who's missing where they came from, Tom, they're coming from Discord at the minute. So we are just going through some of the Discord questions. And Sarcastic Monkey says, which non-Imperium factions deserve a better book?
All of them. Because the books are bad. No, sorry, I didn't say any of that. You just hallucinated it. Was there does it mean novel? Is there any?
It just says books. Deserves a better book. Deserves better books.
All of them, I think. Novels, I think is was it Sarcastic Monkey?
It was Sarcastic Monkey, yes.
Tyranids. And the reason I say Tyranids is because they are only seen as the obstacle in many books. They're the enemy, they're the bad guy, they're faceless. I would love to see a novel that made the High Fleet the protagonist in some way, even if it was a sort of even if it was being viewed through the eyes of other species, but a narrative I'm trying to think of an example. A little bit like if you've ever seen the TV series The Booth at the End. It's a very good series. There's a chap sat in a coffee shop and people come and sit down and tell him things, and then he looks in the book and goes, go to a red door, knock 3 times, and then they go and do it. And then he comes back and they say, well, what happened? And he sees all these different people. And it turns out, spoiler alert, it turns out that the book he's got is
That's how you do it, Muff.
Yeah. Turns out that the book he's got is the devil.
Not Muff.
It's
totally different
Morph.
thing. Totally different.
It's Tony Hart around.
I know.
Turns out the book is the devil's book, and it predicts things. And they come and they say what they want, and he looks it up in the book and he tells them what to do, and they will always get what they want if they do what they're asked to do, but the consequences may be severe. It's a little bit like the story of the monkey's paw. Some of them get what they want and it goes well, some of them badly, but the individual vignettes you see in every episode seem so entirely other and unrelated, and it's only at the very end of the series that they start to all tie up. And I'm sure a good writer could do something like that with Tyranids, where you could be seeing different parts of a master Tyranid scheme through the window of other races looking in, that then tie back up together at the end. I'd love to see something like that. That'd be awesome.
Just back in the live chat, just back to a comment from Christian, a question. So have you looked at Little Wars TV at all? I feel you may like their channel, as they are an historical war game channel that put lots of care into the history. GW needs to steal their Hannibal rule set.
I haven't. I may look them up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mick the Machine says from Discord, being as Dante now crossed the Rubicon. Is that right?
Yeah.
And in 10th ed, the Primaris and firstborn keywords are seemingly being dropped.
No.
Does this change your mind on adding Primaris units into your Blood Angels?
No. Well, I mean, we've seen units that are called Primaris Lieutenants, and their descriptions say they can be added to units of intercessors and this and that and the other. So whilst they're not doing it via keywords, they are still making a distinction. I think what I'm going to do for 10th edition, and I am obviously going to wait till I see the rule book and everything, and it all depends on what I'm enthusiastic for at the time, because I have a muse, and I'm going to follow my muse. It all depends whether I have any enthusiasm for doing 40k or AoS or Star Wars or sitting and vegging on the sofa or whatever it's going to be. But my current thinking is I will pick 2, maybe 3 40k armies and temporarily shelve the rest and play those when I play 40k. And at some point when I get fed up with one of them, I'll cycle it out and bring another one in. Because I can't practically have... I think I'm, with the addition of all the Star Wars stuff, I'm probably north of 70 armies now. So that would be, spend a week painting each one for a year and, get around them all. That's just... So I think my inclination is to cycle through stuff. So, for example, when I've done the Siege of Excelsis, when that's reached its conclusion, I will almost certainly put those armies aside and concentrate on some chaos and some death stuff, like some Soulblight Gravelords and some Slaves to Darkness. I'll almost certainly be doing that. And the other stuff, take a back shelf for a while. Backseat. Cycle them in. It's like subs or being tagged at the end. Slapped. Tagged in and tagged out. And please, God, stop me talking.
Okay, Kev says, now the lion has returned, who would you like to see next?
Fulgrim. Gotta love the Emperor's Children. Gotta love those sick, twisted people. And I think the Fulgrim... I think they could make an amazing Fulgrim Demon Snake model. Could be amazing. If it's the right model, I'd build and paint that irrespective of whether I was playing my Emperor's Children or not. Because a lot of my Emperor's Children models are super old. Whatever the new models are going to be when they eventually do Emperor's Children, they will not stand up next to them. They will go nighty-night in a box, very probably.
Mick says, would you like to see a playable Sigmar model for AoS?
No.
Is that it?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Right, okay, and this is a good question. Could you hazard a rough guess as to how many models you've painted to date in your time in the hobby? Wow.
Okay, I'll hazard a guess at 4,000.
Whoa.
4,000 or 5,000. Don't know. That's my hazard a guess. No, I would not like to see Sigmar as a playable character because they would have to make him so weak compared to his narrative that it would either be just pointless to play against because he'd be so hard, or so weak as to not match the narrative, and both would be bad. It's the same thing as would you like to see Nurgle as a playable character? No, I wouldn't. Same reason. And they've often said in the lore, or Sigmar has often said in the lore, I cannot take to the field. If I take to the field, then Khorne will do the same.
Oh. That's a lot of models, Kev says. It is a lot of models, Kev. So Mick says, is there a new version of AoS required yet? Or is the current version still as good as is?
I love the current version. I think it's amazing. On the GW scale, we are getting I expect we will get new AoS this time next year. Well, about just a little over a year away. Because we're about to get the last battle tomes towards the end of this year. Then I think, yes, it's the only place I could have known it from. From the previews, they've talked about some campaign books. So they'll probably run campaign books for 6 or 9 months before hitting us with a new edition. That's what they did last time. That's what GW's MO is. So I think we will get new AoS next summer. And I hope they don't mess about with it too much because I really do love it. So they're probably working on it now. Please don't break it. Please don't break it. Please don't break it. Don't break it.
Okay. When can we see the Claw make his triumphant return to the channel?
You'd have to ask the Claw.
I've asked the Claw. Yeah, I asked him. And it's not at the moment. That's what he said.
Righto.
Okay. Is the new version of AoS required yet? Oh, sorry. Wrong one. Has scale creep, etc. made it easier to paint models now compared to painting models in, say, the second ed days? From Mick?
I don't think scale creep's got anything to do with it. I think the models are just better now. They've got more definition, cleaner lines, and that's what makes them easier to paint. Nothing really to do with the scale.
Second born, we're nearly at the end of the Discord, so I'll just have there's only a couple more. So, Second born says, has there been interest to do the Realm Gate Wars campaign?
Not really. I'm not really giving it much thought. The Realm Gate Wars campaign would restrict model choices quite significantly because during the Realm Gate Wars, there were only 3 chamber types open. So it's a lot of the original stuff. It also needs... The adversaries are very specific. So no, it's not something that I'm really considering. I mean, maybe the odd thing from it here or there, but not as a campaign.
Blue Demon Brushworks. Is that Moog?
That's Moog.
Is he hiding? Are you in hiding?
No, Moog had to rebrand because
Why?
YouTube kept insisting he was trying to plagiarize a company that made, I think, amplifiers called Moog something or other from like 40 years ago.
Flipping rubbish.
Anyway. He had a lot of trouble, so he rebranded.
Right, well, he's just used his 30 months membership.
I
like Moog, by the way. I'm still going to call him Moog. That's never going to go.
Well, I think he's still Moog, but his channel is Blue Demon Brushworks.
Right, okay.
Said it now. Mass Stratagems and Rules bloat in AoS 3rd edition. Just you wait.
Just you wait. Oh, it was Red Rubble, not YouTube.
Swines.
Ridiculous. Sarcastic Monkey says, how dare you start the ramble when I'm not yet ready to watch? I think we must have started, and it. Sarcastic Monkey was not ready. That's because I wasn't on doing my normal. Hello.
Technical
we went
issues.
Boom into it, didn't we? And totally thrown Sarcastic Monkey off track. Oh, I'll do that again.
Don't do that again.
No, I'll do
No
that
sudden
again.
movements.
Ooh, look at my bruise.
Oh, no. Well, that's a tiny one. The one you should be
No.
massive.
Tom says, last question. What do you make of the new 10th box?
I like the card effects. The Screamer Killer, that's cool. I like the Terminators, they're cool. When I looked at it, I thought, yeah, that looks quite cool.
Any other words but cool?
Not really.
All right then.
There were lots of announcements over the weekend, and I didn't pay them. I glanced at them, but I didn't look at them in a lot of detail. So I liked what I saw. Yeah, but not really. I got into that.
Okay. I didn't know whether to put the Facebook link so that people can start using Facebook. If the box set was a cake, what sort of cake would it be?
Carrot.
Carrot cake. I like a carrot cake.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay, I've already put the email address in there, and I'll just put the Facebook. There's only me and Mick on there. So if anybody wants to join, feel free.
I mean, it's Crimson Conflux, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Space Conflux.
Crimson Space Conflux.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to go on there, please put stuff on. You can see the link for the event as well on there.
We were going to call it Crimson Events, but Facebook didn't like that.
No, they wouldn't have it. Facebook were like, no, demon.
So, change the name of it for every event.
It was the events that kind of they were a bit fed up about, I think.
Grumpy.
Feeling grumpy. Leave it.
Should we do the thank yous?
Let's do thank yous.
Big thank you to Crimson in her wounded state.
Oh dear. And thank you for that. And thank you for all the get well wishes. Thank you for that as well. So Mick the Machine twice. Thank yous for your super chat.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. And using their memberships this week was Wolf Corgay, 20 months, with his comment on Crimson Cornflakes. Bless. I know. Mick, 30 months membership, used his 30-month. Kevin, big hugs for me with his 30-month membership. Thank you for that. Sarcastic Monkey used his 7 months, and Blue Demon, Moog, 30 months. My niece, Neve, thought Moog's name was actually Moog because I call him Moog the entire time. So she now says that's his real name, and I'm like, it's not. Gotta be Moog.
Well, on
Thank you, Mick.
Oh, is that the thank yous?
That's it. That's all the thank yous.
Well, on that note, thank you once again to Crimson for being the admin legend. Thank you all for joining, and take care. We will see you in the next one, which won't be next week because I'm off doing my birthday thing. But take care, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye for now. Say bye, Crimson.
Bye, Crimson.
Bye. Bye.